Hello and welcome to the Student StarCraft AI Tournament broadcast. This is Nightcat and I will be your host for today. Taking a look at what we have left in the tournament, we are getting close to the end here. I think this will be the next to last cast for the tournament itself, and then we'll resume our weekly broadcast of random replays that get either pointed out to us or picked out at random from various sources. Which, just as a little tidbit, I hear that somebody's been working on making free-for-alls a little easier to run, so we might have some free-for-all replays in the near-ish future to cast after the tournament. Back to the tournament at hand, though. Currently, we are sitting with the semifinals being Stardust versus Monster, and then we've got the losers round 4, where HowPond and Xiaoyi, Banana Brain, and CrazyOp are still competing to get up into that finals, which is between the winner of the winner's bracket and the winner of the loser's bracket. Now, as I said, I think this is going to take about 2 casts to get through. So today what we're going to be looking at is the losers round 4 and the losers round 5. So the reason we're going to be looking at these 3 matches first is that they're sort of self-contained. The winners of the losers round 4 will play each other in the losers round 5. Then the winner from losers round 5 goes on to round 6 to face the loser of the semifinals. So then the final cast can be the semifinals, losers round 6, and then the finals, which will either be 3 series if the winner of the semifinals wins in the finals, or because this is double elimination, and the AI making it to the finals through the winner's bracket has not lost yet, it could be 4 series if they happen to lose in the finals. So, as I said, today we're going to go ahead and start off with the losers round 4 and then also do losers round 5, which means we're going to be starting off with HowPond against Xiaoyi. So let's go ahead and get into it. In our first series of HowPond going up against Xiaoyi here, game 1 will take place on Moonglaive 2.1. The old iCup tag from those old iCup days. We have HowPond spawning as the yellow Terran over on the left side of the map. And over on the right side here, we have Xiaoyi spawning as the teal Terran. So we have a Terran versus Terran here to start us off. We can see HowPond going ahead and getting that first depot just a little bit faster. Looks like Xiaoyi will be going for a wall, which will be why that depot is a little bit faster for HowPond. So far, nothing out of the ordinary. Actually, not quite going for a wall. Got the depot at the ramp and then getting the barracks in the main here. Like, or, well, I mean, even main, not like up at the ramp, so. We have the scouts out for the players here. Looks like HowPond was checking for proxies before actually going into the main, whereas Xiaoyi is going straight, excuse me, to the main. I don't know what it is. Like, as soon as I start to cast, my body is just like, you will now cough. I don't know why. But I don't think I've really coughed, like, at all today. And then just, I sit down just to work on this, and it's just, hey, you got a cough now. Anyway, though, looks like they're both going for bunkers. HowPond is getting theirs in their main, maybe in response to the Marines that are coming out. Xiaoyi gets theirs down at the natural, which will help them to take their natural a little easier. Both are going for one factory. They're getting vultures now. Although HowPond's factory actually seems to be a bit late, as the first vulture is already out on the field for Xiaoyi, so Xiaoyi's going to be, like, up a vulture. But this barracks should help. Kind of depends on what HowPond wants to do coming out of this. We've got ourselves a little bit of a TVT vulture war here. And HowPond draws first blood in the vulture wars. We'll push the vultures of Xiaoyi back a bit here. But Xiaoyi, being the aggressor here, is getting their natural started ahead of HowPond. But HowPond is going for a second factory along with a machine shop and has a starport. And thus has wraiths. I don't think they have Cloak yet, so the Marines could fire on the Wraiths, but the Wraiths doing a lot of damage to the Vultures here over time with their little pot shots happening. HowPond jumping up to 3 factories now, it looks like, based on the production tab, getting their second, third, and a 4th factory down. But these Wraiths, if they went into the main, they could really cause some trouble here, but they're being a little bit cautious of this bunker. There definitely is at least one Marine up. That Wraith did find a spot there where it can harass these SCVs. HowPond getting down some turrets too. The tide has definitely flipped here, but HowPond is still just on the one base. I like they're mining up on the left side of the map there, the left and top side. The bases just to check to see if anything happens here. And Xiaoyi is just now getting their armory. They don't have an eBay for turrets. I think these Wraiths are going to win it in the end for HowPond. HowPond has a very nice, healthy Vulture count as well. 12 Vultures there and starting to get tanks now. Yeah, the workers are like bouncing around. There's just too many Wraiths here. I think the armory will finish, which will allow Xiaoyi to get Goliaths if they can get the money for it. Cloak is just about done now, though, and there is no detection available, so I think the Wraiths are going to be what win it here for HowPond. Nicely done there with that starport. Oh, actually, maybe not. We've got concepts, but there's still no anti-air. There's no Goliath. The only anti-air being this bunker here, which is doing its best to keep the floating engineering bay at bay here. HowPond doing a good job of forcing these SCVs to sort of just bounce between bases, which is, you know, really inhibiting going for a tank instead of Goliath. Yeah, it's really inhibiting the production capabilities of Xiaoyi, and now siege mode is out for HowPond. Tanks coming to the front. They should be able to siege down this bunker. And once that bunker is gone, this is going to be, you know, just HowPond's game 100%, I think. I mean, I think it was already 100% a good little bit ago, but there's 4 Marines trying to hold position. Just get eaten alive by the Vultures there, and now the Vultures free to run into the main. The Wraiths have nothing to fear. Nicely executed there by HowPond, holding that early Marine aggression and then early Vulture aggression from Xiaoyi, and really I think the Wraiths are what turned this around. HowPond did eventually get their natural behind this. And just, yeah, very nice first game here. And remember, again, this is the loser's bracket, so it is just a best of 3. So winning this first game, assuming that there's no crash from HowPond before the end, will go ahead and put them in a position to advance to the next round. With a win in the next game. It's kind of fun to just watch the Vultures and the Wraiths just bounce around from building to building and what they want to attack. It's actually kind of neat the way they're... because of the way that they have acceleration. It's just kind of interesting. Now even the tanks are getting in on the dance here of the building destruction, and then everything just blows up all at once. It's always kind of cool to see. Meanwhile, the natural is built at SCV. But yeah, it's going to get cleaned up here. So GG there by HowPond. And we'll get into game 2 here. And here we find ourselves on the battlefield of Tau Cross 1.1. Xiaoyi spawning as the purple Terran up in the top right of the map. Down 1 game on another 3-player map. And we have HowPond spawning as the light blue Terran down in the bottom right of the map. So Game 1, we saw HowPond handle the early aggression of Xiaoyi's Marines and Vultures, and then turn the tide, especially with the Wraiths, that Xiaoyi just did not have an answer for. We'll see if same thing happens this game, or will we get anything different. We're on a 3-player map again. I'll be watching too to see. I don't think we're going to see any proxy from Xiaoyi, but I noticed in the last game that HowPond's scout went looking for the sort of possible proxies. It looks like we are checking for those again in a few different spots. And then going ahead to the proper start location, the SCB scouts go ahead and pass each other in the night. Or, I guess, daytime, I don't know. There's really no day-night cycle in StarCraft. But HowPond finds Xiaoyi, Xiaoyi finds HowPond, so... Factory started for both players. Pretty close in timing. I think closer than it seemed to be in Game 1 at least. HowPond giving that scout a chase, meanwhile Xiaoyi's Marine going ahead and sort of chasing that scout, but also ignoring the scout. I think it was just happened to be, sort of seemed like it was chasing because of the direction they were going. But the bunker is done for HowPond. HowPond loads the bunker and defends themselves. The scout is still alive, but won't be for long as the Vulture is going to pop out soon. Vulture's already on the way, but HowPond will have the defender's advantage along with the bunker that it is consistently unloading. Here the Vultures are actually beginning to fight this back already, but maybe getting a little too... not too ahead of themselves. Decent trade there. Got some more Vulture wars going on here. HowPond getting the repair though, that's part of that defender's advantage with the SCVs being right there to be able to repair those units. And now the first Wraith is out. And there is the bunker here at the natural, but I think soon, just check the Wraith counts, it's still 2-1. HowPond's not quite getting that Wraith superiority that it did before, but it is up to 2 factors already, while Xiaoyi is just on the 1, already has spider mines. So I think the Vulture war here is going to turn very quickly. Xiaoyi is going up to that 4 factories again, but I think it's just not getting an answer for these Wraiths. And I think that's going to be like the big turning point, although the Wraiths are not quite getting as good of an attack avenue as they did in the last game. Taking a little bit of damage there. Oh. Alright, one has found a way to wreak some havoc in the worker lines, which I think helped a lot in Game 1. They are sort of finding those little holes, little spots that they can poke into. Armory almost done here. Armory finishes up, so Xiaoyi could get Goliaths, but it doesn't look like it is. It's just... It is getting Constats, though. And yeah, I think it just really gets hurt in its economy when it is dancing the workers back and forth between the bases because of the Wraiths. So the Wraiths are doing a great job of really just hindering Xiaoyi's economy here, and the worker count we can see falling. It was ahead of HowPond because they had that natural so much faster, but now it's 33 workers. I mean, it's still going up at the moment because they're not exactly purely focusing the workers, but now like you can see almost all of the workers abandon the main, and then they come back. And this sort of back and forth puzzle just really stops Xiaoyi from getting what it needs to deal with this, and then it doesn't help itself when it makes tanks instead of Goliaths. There's less Vultures out here than there were before. Scan goes down for Xiaoyi at the natural. So the land force might get pushed back a little bit, but these Wraiths, there's just no answer. They have Cloak at this point. Down to 24 workers, the worker count has changed, and HowPond now has siege tanks of their own sieging up here. directly on a mine, apparently. That's pretty scary. But yeah, I think this is just going the way of another HowPond win thanks to the Wraiths. That just look annoying as all heck to deal with. How many Wraiths are there right now? 8. SL1 just finished, so I think this is just 7 Wraiths. Down to 13 workers now for Xiaoyi. This is a Vulture's fever dream here. Being the hero for the Terran army. This is like a recruitment ad for them, I think. Being a Vulture, or not Vulture, a Wraith pilot here. And yeah, with that, Xiaoyi can't make any more workers. HowPond is going to go on to the next round of the losers bracket here. Going 2-0 against Xiaoyi. Xiaoyi had a pretty strong showing here in the tournament, but will be eliminated with this game. HowPond will go on to face the winner of the next series, which is going to be between Banana Brain and CrazyOp. So either way, it's going up against Protoss in the next matchup here. We get to see the lovely dance of the units with acceleration as they spread their damage all around. Yeah, just very well executed, and I love how the Wraiths don't just get caught up, because you see this with a lot of AIs where they just get caught up trying to take the exact same approach, and so like the bunker that was here, for example, just sort of stops it. But instead, HowPond is able to like keep trying slightly different angles and finally find a way in and a way to actually poke at like exposed mineral lines and such, instead of just being stopped by the one bunker. And even an SCV getting in on the fight here, trying to clean up this last refinery. So GG, well played, but Xiaoyi is eliminated with HowPond going on to the next round. And our second series for today, starting off on the same map we just finished off on, Howcross 1.1. We have CrazyOp spawning as the yellow Protoss on the left-hand side spawn, and down in the bottom right, we have Banana Brain spawning as the light blue Protoss that you only get to see in 1.16 on the ice-based tile set maps. You have the very quick scout from CrazyOp finding Banana Brain, so it looks like it will be using, I believe, the similar strategy of get the forge in the main and then get some pylons and cannons out in front of the opposing base. Looks like it might be starting back pretty far here, but that actually might be a good thing to give it some time, because Banana Brain is going to gate and will be getting zealots, I imagine, if you're going to gate and not getting any gas. So this 2-gate zealot might be able to handle this cannon rush. We'll see. First zealot is going to pop before the cannon finishes. These cannons might finish, and they are on the path. That zealot's just going to end up dancing in range of the cannon and fall. Not the best response that you would want to see. Second zealot is out now. Outprobe's going to get picked off there. And so now Banana Brain's going to have to gather up some forces here to deal with these cannons, I think. But if it can get enough zealots, it should be able to take the cannons on, but CrazyOp is very quickly escalating the cannon count here. They're not necessarily built in the best way to give themselves, or to give each other coverage, but here we do have the pack of zealots. They're going to chase after the probe. They get one cannon and not the probe and suffer pretty heavy losses, so that's not the best. I was almost thinking for a second that this was CrazyOp going ahead and expanding at the natural of Banana Brain, but it looks like that is not the case. Banana Brain has taken its gas, but not getting a core yet. Still just going pure Zealot production. But now this Nexus is under fire from the cannons of CrazyOp. CrazyOp continuing to get pylons here at the front, also taking its natural. Core is morphing in now, though, for Banana Brain, and just about finishes up. Almost pulled probes into the fight, which would not have been a good thing there. The Zealots backing off for Banana Brain. No Dragoons under production yet, could be producing them. I'm getting more and more worried for Banana Brain here, as if I think it's just stuck trying to take this natural now, because it keeps sending a probe to try and... Okay, now we've got Dragoons on the way. Yeah, so it's trying to save this bank of 400 minerals for a Nexus, but with Dragoons coming out now, CrazyOp keeps trying to find a spot to build this pylon and then canceling it. I'm starting to get worried that for CrazyOp that Banana Brain might be able to break out soon. If Banana Brain can break out, but it's being very, very hesitant here with these cannons. It's really trying to build up a force. CrazyOp needs to start teching pretty soon, though. It is finally getting its gateway here. But yeah, like, Banana Brain, even despite banking the necessary resources for a Nexus, it is still building up an army now. It is getting its robotics facilities, so the Dark Templar tech might be a little bit late if Banana Brain goes straight for observers, so that is something to watch here. Core finishes for CrazyOp. CrazyOp actually taking a third base now, getting the Citadel of Adun. And now Banana Brain feels that they have enough to go ahead and take these cannons out, so they will be charging ahead. And I think they have more than enough to. There's a lot of pylons here that could be cannons, but are not. Dark Templar tech on the way. Is there an observatory, though? I don't know. It's a robotics base, so if Dark Templars can come out in time, they may keep CrazyOp safe here. CrazyOp has a lot of minerals and gas banked up here. And now Banana Brain is loose on the map, making a direct charge after CrazyOp. Dark Templar's about to finish up, though. First observer is on the way for Banana Brain, so it looks like Banana Brain did get that observatory. But these Dark Templar will have a little bit of time to do some damage here before that observer can make its way across the map. CrazyOp taking a little bit of damage here. Loses the Stargate, but the Fleet Beacon, actually getting 2 Fleet Beacons. I don't know if that is on purpose. Yeah, there's 2 Fleet Beacons made. A lot of Dark Templar out, actually cleaning up. I don't know where the observer... There was an observer made. 2 of them, actually. I don't know where they went. But the Dark Templar made some quick work of Banana Brain's force there, and the observer is not here right now. So Banana Brain, we're having to retreat. Where are the observers? There's one. But the Dark Templars have quickly made... There's 1 Dragoon out for Banana Brain now. What a turn of events here. The observer trying to follow these Dark Templar, but I think it's just too late now. The worker count just plummeting for Banana Brain here. Although there is a Dark Templar for Banana Brain out now, and there are no observers for... Oh, Banana Brain, for some reason, morphs it into a Dark Archon when it would have just been better to keep it as a Dark Templars there. But yeah, I think these Dark Templar have done the damage they need to, though. This natural is going to fall. This third is going to fall. Banana Brain does not have the minerals to produce any more workers and is out of workers. What a game. CrazyOp going to take this and go up 1-0. Just wow. That was not the result expected when Banana Brain broke out like that. Especially when I saw, okay, observers are on the way. There's still 2 observers, and I think I've only seen the one. I don't know where the other observer is. There's Dark Templar chasing some units around, but it gets caught here by this cannon. It's gonna scare the workers away a little bit, but CrazyOP's ground army, not even the cannons are gonna clean this up. Where? I have no idea where that other observer is. There's one observer out on the map somewhere. Where's the blue dot? Where? It's like a game of Where's Waldo, right? Like, where's the blue? I don't see it on the mini-map. I have no idea where that is. Oh, there it is. I think that's the observer that I was trying to hunt down, so it is here. There were 2 for the longest time, and only one seemed to be actively following CrazyO's army, so I don't know where the other one was at the time. CrazyOP taking a strong 1-0 lead here. Banana Brain gonna have to fight to stay in this tournament. Let's get into game 2. And the second game between these 2 will take place on Circuit Breakers 1.0. We have Banana Brain spawning as the orange Protoss up at the top left of the map. And over on the top right, we have CrazyOP spawning as the blue Protoss here. And the scout for CrazyOP is already out. Looks like it might get the last scout, but timing-wise, I think it'll be okay if Pylon just started for CrazyOP. So it still needs to get that forge before it'll want to go ahead and toss down that proxy pylon. But it is, this map is pretty large, so it might take a minute to find. It looks like Banana Brain is going to get a last scout off on CrazyOP though as well. Looks like the first gateway is on the way, the forge is on the way, so actually this might be a little bit oh wait, no, pylon has already started. Looks like a second probe went out and confirmed or to build the pylon here, so kind of depends though. Okay, first cannon is started, so I think that will finish, although a little bit after this zealot. If the zealot goes straight out, maybe it might do something here, but no, it's going to stop on the ramp and wait for at least a second zealot. So these cannons are going to finish for CrazyOP here. Oh, and the zealots do see it and decide to back out. They could maybe just sneak on the second path here and kind of come up into the main and wreak havoc, but it doesn't look like they're actually going to try and sneak past. Instead, they are going to sit here and allow the cannons to build up. CrazyOP getting a lot of cannons. There's like no... Usually by now it would have got like a couple cannons and then a couple pylons, and then a couple cannons, and pylons and stuff, but no, it is pure cannon construction here right now. And so I don't think these... maybe these zealots could break it or at least deal a lot of damage to it. I don't know. I've never really watched mass zealot versus mass cannon before, so I don't have a good mental reference to say, yeah, this number of zealots can take this number of cannons. I feel like they should. They thought they could for a moment, but they're going to back out. The natural is going to be started, though. Looks like we are getting a couple of pylons pretty well spread, which is, I think, a good move there. Instead of having them clumped together, it'll give a lot of space for additional cannons. I think there is a cannon back somewhere in the main. Yep, over in the main that is being started. The natural is being taken for CrazyOP. CrazyOP is slowly advancing in on this natural. And so I don't think this Nexus is really going to be able to be up for... Oh, maybe overextending just a little too quickly, but now... So the Nexus will stand for a little bit longer since the cannons that were in range got taken out. But now these top 2 cannons are done. They're going to be able to protect this cannon push a little bit better. CrazyOP... That's a nice little diamond pattern there. Happening for CrazyOP. A little bit of a probe worker bleed there into the cannons, and the cannons really stretching forward here. But again, it's kind of going to come down to, you know, how fast does CrazyO tech behind this? So the last time, it looked like the tech was maybe going to be a little bit late, but turned out just fine. CrazyOP really spending the money well on these cannons. There's a lot of cannons. There are more cannons here, I think, than last time. That's a lot of cannons. We did see the robotics facility be made. We've got an observatory on the way, so Dark Templar aren't gonna just be able to march in, I don't think. But really, I think the Reaver would help here. I don't think Banana Brain's busted out of it this time. That is so many... Oof. This is like when you try to take over the Big Game Hunters map with cannons, level of cannons. I am loving it. This is... And we're just slamming down more cannons. The gateway has started, so CrazyOp is starting to tech. It's going to see if it can... That is a brave pylon there, I think. Yeah, that is a pylon. Just want to control click all the other pylons, get selected. Cannons firing from the low ground onto the high ground. We'll see if cannons can actually be started up on this high ground or not. Man, this is just... A pylon's gonna go down, and poor Banana Brain does not want to engage with this. There is, and the observer is over in the base, and I wonder if that's where the observer was last time. I just could not find it. Citadel on the way for CrazyOp. Yeah, I think the cannon advance is going to be stopped here, but I don't see Banana Brain breaking out of this number of cannons without, like, Reaver tech or something. Templar Archives being started now for Crazyo. We've got another, or actually no, that is the observer that I saw from before. I think the other one is with the army. There's a third observer on the way. Upgrades, leg speed is here, range for goons. I think that's observer vision and not speed, I think. Storm is on the way, but Storm's not going to help you against cannons. That high ground pylon falls, but there's still just all of this, and Crazyo has done the transition to getting a ground army, getting Dark Templar. I think this might actually prevent Dragoons from Crazyo from actually making it into the main. So this game is probably going to go until Crazyo gets the carriers and becomes aggressive with them, I think. Because Banana... Oh my. Oh dear, we've got the unit tornado happening here because of all of the order spam happening. But yeah, so I don't think the Dragoons from Crazyo will be able to get up there with the Dark Templar, and there is the Observer, and actually the Dark Templar are sitting back defensively this time, not going to be used aggressively, so yeah, it's going to be tech getting the Arbiter tech on one base. Are we going to see a recall to get around the cannons or something? That would be great. Especially with all of the units clumped up like this. That would just be perfect for a recall, man. I would love to see that if that could happen. Please, Banana Brain, get the gas to get an Arbiter and to get recall researched and do it. Come on. That would be amazing to see. Just like throw the Arbiter over here, just recall right here, and then just sort of march on CrazyOp's army. I don't think it would actually be enough to win, but that would be pretty crazy to see that level of tactics. I don't think we're going to, unfortunately. Banana Brain has just the one gas. Finally producing a Reaver, though, so might be able to do something like that with that. We don't have any Arbiter on the way. There's a lot of observers out on the map keeping tabs on what's happening, but yeah, it looks like Crazyo's ground army now trying to engage, and actually that unbundles the army of Banana Brain. The ground army's not going to be able to do much, but might delay that Reaver trying to bust the cannons. But now we have the cannon, or the carrier here. I wonder is... Oh yeah, interceptor capacity is researched. There are 18 interceptors, but carrier doesn't seem to really be able to attack all that many at once right now. There are more carriers for CrazyOp, they're just not joined into the fight just yet. And there's a lot of interceptors too, so here we have a second carrier joining in. An Arbiter is out now. I don't think recall is researched though, so I don't think we'll see what I wanted to see in terms of trying to dodge around the cannons. We might see stasis if Banana Brain wants to spend the money and gas on it, but it is mined out now in the main. Still doesn't have an expansion. I think that's the Dark Templar of CrazyOp getting caught up by, I believe, the Reavers, or even the Dragoons might have been. Yeah, so Reaver taking them out there, we just saw. So the carrier does go down, but CrazyOp has so many bases. And like I said, Banana Brain is mined out. I like, though, it is saving 400 minerals for a Nexus, so if it does manage to somehow break out of this, I would be able to place a Nexus so that it can mine again. With just the 2 workers left, the army is again getting kind of clumped up here. The carriers are being a bit too willing to just charge in, but CrazyOp can just afford to do that right now, right? CrazyOp could just A-move carriers into this and we'll slowly win. You can hear all of the zealots dying as they try. They finally commit to trying to break the cannons, and they're just not able to do so. Banana Brain spent some money there, 200 minerals, I think, on workers. Maybe not fully workers, but yeah, it's just a slow death here for Banana Brain, and CrazyOp going to the losers round 6, it looks like. Taking the series 2-0. CrazyOp really having a strong showing here in this tournament. And going to be going up against HowPond to fight for the right to face the loser of the semifinals from the winner's bracket. Banana Brain staying alive for now, but like I said, you know, CrazyOp just has the resources to not really care how effective or well this attack goes, given it owns pretty much the rest of the map. I thought it was expanding this bottom left at one point, but I guess not. Yeah, it got so many cannons this time. I love it. And I think that's one of the issues that it sometimes runs into, is it gets too few cannons, and this time it got probably more than I needed, but I loved it. Loved every 150 minerals that got sunk into that cannon rush there. And now we get to listen to every Terran's night terrors, nightmares here. Just the interceptor fire sound and the launching of the interceptors. It's very well done here by CrazyOp. And with the final pylon of Banana Brain falling, we will go ahead and get into our third and final series for today. Our final series for today, Losers Round 6. The winner gets to face the to-be-determined loser of the semifinals round. Game 1 on La Mancha 1.1, we have HowPond spawning as the yellow Terran up at the top left, and down at the bottom right, we have CrazyOp spawning as the blue Protoss here. How will HowPond fare against the cannon rush of CrazyOp? And I think these two played earlier, and it didn't go so well for HowPond, and I think this was one of the maps where it didn't go so well. I will have to double check, but I believe HowPond had some issues here, but ooh, I like this. Caught the proxy early, going after the pylon here, a cannon coming down. I think the pylon will fall before this cannon finishes, though. So maybe I am misremembering. I am going to double check, though. A second cannon gets started, but yeah, there's no pylon now, so even if these finish, they're not going to be powered. It looks like the cannon rush for CrazyOp has all but failed at this point. The probe going home. CrazyOp throwing down a second pylon at home to replace the one that was lost, and going straight into Gateway. So it looks like, I think, with that, so maybe I'm remembering wrong. I'm going to double check that, though. It's in the next game. I'll update on what I find when I double check things. But it looks like CrazyOp going, or you know what? It was somebody lost to in-base cannon rushing, I think, or something. Or maybe I'm thinking of other replays. I don't know. My brain is apparently just too scattered at the moment. But CrazyOp teching up quickly, getting back core, does throw down a cannon to protect itself. HowPond, meanwhile, going to go ahead and take its natural, has a vulture out, which is going to go across the map along with one marine here. Machine Shop is just finishing up now. We'll see what gets researched out of that. Citadel of Adun on the way. Still no detection quite yet for HowPond. Going for the high ground CC that's going to float, kind of interesting. It could have just built that on the low ground. The Vulture finding some space to do some damage. There is a Dragoon out on the map, but if there's any Marines, which I don't think there are in that bunker, it's going to say HowPond should be fine. That Dragoon really needs to be back home, though, in the main. For some reason, it's soft over here to the left. I was going to say, needs to be protecting these probes. There's now two Vultures here tearing apart these probes. Dark Templar are on the way, though. A lot of pylons being thrown down along with the cannon now that I think the Vultures have been mostly cleared, now fully cleared. So I think those Vultures in the main were causing some issues. We have the Dark Templar coming out now. There's two of them here out on the field, I believe, yep, and going ahead and taking the natural, so we'll see the detection. I think will be up in time. The turrets are being started. There's actually two of them here. Few explosions, I'm not quite sure what those were, but yeah, the turret is done in time. Tanks not so good against Dark Templar, but there's Vulture out that does deal some good damage. I think a couple of Marines in the bunker as well, so HowPond looking pretty well protected here from these DTs. A scan going down to actually deal with them and try and deal some damage and push them back. The tank getting a little, ooh, I think there was a swipe on the tank, and another one. Tank getting picked off here. Fleet beacon almost done here. Vulture's finding some space in here to deal some damage. There's no cannons or anything to protect this natural, so the natural's going to be in some trouble. And the Dark Templar, though, keeping the rest of HowPond's army back. But these Vultures, okay, there was one cannon that got made there, which I think will allow this natural to really more come back online here. Dark Templar being a bit of a problem, but the army of HowPond now able to get out. Able to pick off some probes still occasionally, though. Now a more forward cannon being placed. Dark Templar trying to chase down the... Oh, that Dragoon getting... Oh, that... Didn't even get fired upon, just canceling that cannon because of the siege tanks. But now the Dark Templar is doing some damage. There's no scans coming down from HowPond. Must be out of energy. Now Goliath's coming in to help fire, but there's no tanks to take out this cannon, so the units are being a little bit cautious with regards to that. But yeah, there's just like no energy on these scans. All of the scans haven't been spent, so the Dark Templar are causing some problems. But though the mines picking them off, HowPond has to be really careful. Oh, I was gonna say really careful that the mines don't backfire them. But there's no more Dark Templar. There's only one carrier out. If HowPond can get a tank down here. There are two on the way. CrazyOp is going to be in some serious trouble trying to bring the probes back to this natural. Engineering Bay taking some damage, starting to burn down from the cannon. But now that the tanks are here, these probes need to run away and get back into the main. And these carriers need to get out quickly if CrazyOp is going to have a chance. But it's really gas-starved since it hasn't really been able to mine from this natural. Trying to get a few more Dark Templar, but I know some energy has had time to build up in the Comstats. Tanks sieging to take out the cannons, allowing the army to venture in a bit more. The army being maybe a bit too scared of a single cannon. I thought that Engineering Bay did manage to survive and got some repair in. And now that the cannon is gone, the floodgates have opened up for the HowPond army. The carrier recognizing the situation, trying to get in here and pick off some of these units, but there's just not going to be enough. Dark Templar causing some problems. I think HowPond's out of scans again. Could use a science vessel to help with this, but even with all of this going on, I don't think CrazyOp is going to quite be able to push this back, but maybe. There's no Goliaths. The Dark Templar targeted the Goliaths, I think. And I hear scans going down. The last Dark Templar did get picked off there, but if HowPond doesn't get its forces together, its anti-air could be in some issues here. Goliaths going after interceptors instead of the carriers. CrazyOp might turn this around, but there are a good number of Goliaths now going after these carriers. Trying to chase them down, and then this is just what you don't like to do as a Terran, having to chase carriers down with Goliaths, but they're taking some heavy damage. And again, CrazyOp just is so gas-starved right now. Tanks firing in on the main. There is one carrier that escaped back into the main. These two leading the large chunk of the Goliath force out to the middle, but now they're returning back here to the natural. That carrier that was in the main, taking care of the tanks, being chased away. And there's just this nice supply line of units reinforcing here for HowPond. And yeah, I mean, CrazyO's putting up a good fight here, has 4 carriers out, but I just don't think it's going to be enough. The upgrades right now, 1-1 for HowPond. Let's just see, is there... I don't see a science facility, and it doesn't look like there's really space in the main for one, and that might be what's slowed the upgrades down, is just running out of space. Yeah, 194 out of 200. CrazyO's main now being cracked. Even with some carriers still on the map trying to do some sort of counterplay here, I think there's still just enough to clean this base up. There's no more mining really for CrazyOp. There's just a few minerals left in the main. Not enough to replace this Nexus if HowPond actually clears that Nexus, which it hasn't yet. 2 workers left for CrazyOp. They're trying to huddle there in the corner. Continuing to lay mines just in case anything comes out of that gateway. Yeah, these carriers here, still 22 interceptors, but have not even enough minerals to replace an interceptor if it gets lost. I think it's 25 minerals per interceptor. It was storm. Oh no, okay, that was from the last game where there was a storm research. So HowPond continuing to expand here. Carriers just don't know what to do. There's too many Goliaths. Very well executed there by HowPond. Really took care of that cannon rush well by taking out that pylon, and then just CrazyOp did not replace it. HowPond making a convincing argument that it should move on to face the loser of the semifinals round. Just this assimilator left here for CrazyOp, which should come down. Yeah, the army's going to come down and clean this up. Meanwhile, the carriers are trying to do something over here on the far left, but the last building falls for CrazyOp. HowPond goes up 1-0, and we're going into Game 2. Game 2 between these two takes place on Tau Cross, with CrazyOp spawning as the red Protoss on the left side of the map, trying to fight to stay in the tournament. And we have HowPond spawning as the yellow Terran up at the top right of the map. So I refreshed my memory on the past events of this tournament, and it wasn't HowPond that faced CrazyOp that fell to those cannons. It was Xiaoyi. But La Mancha was like one of the maps where that happened, so that's why it and it was those same spawn positions, I believe, if I'm remembering right. So like that's why it stuck out to me. I'm like, wait, did we see this matchup before? But no, because it was Xiaoyi. I don't think we've actually had a rematch yet between two AIs, which it's hard to get that sort of rematch thing to happen in this tournament, right? It's like the way that the brackets run, they're kind of designed to avoid that until like it's not possible to avoid that. And here we do see the reaction from HowPond, taking out the pylon. It should take out the pylon before these cannons finish. And once it takes out the pylon, then, yeah, the cannons, the CrazyOp is not going to replace it. The cannons will finish, but they will be unpowered. CrazyOp here abandoning the rush now. And will proceed to tech back home, while HowPond is going to go ahead and start to tech up to that mech army that Terran likes to use against Protoss, because Protoss splash damage will just absolutely decimate Bio. There is a Marine, though, wandering in here to see what it can do, and it is going to get to disrupt these a little bit. There is just one cannon. Oh, okay, the probe takes care of it. I thought the cannon was going to need to finish and take care of it, but the Marine kind of got sniped there by the probes. Bunker going down in the natural, while the command center for the natural base is going down in the main. We have a vulture out on the map now, while the Citadel of Dune is made. Watching for the timing of the... Where is the Citadel? Okay, it's pretty forward facing, so if this vulture can get in there, they should see the Citadel, but maybe? Okay, the Dragoon does let the vulture in. The vulture is going to see the Citadel. Doesn't see the Templar Archives. Is going to get some nice juicy probe kills, but the probes are going to work to repel this vulture, and then the Dragoon comes in. I don't see any detection started yet for HowPond, so this could be an issue. If it doesn't get an engineering bay soon, these Dark Templar are about to be out on the map. HowPond might be in a bit of trouble. Let's see, is there... Mines is on the way. Now, CrazyOp could... It is going to be aggressive. I was going to say, it could just be defensive with these Dark Templar. Now, they are coming out aggressively. The Academy is finishing up, though, so scans will be available soon. But these Dark Templar are going to have some time to play, and they are getting those swipes in on this tank now. They take it out, and now they're going to dive into the base. A turret is started, so there was an engineering base somewhere made. I think it must have just finished. But, yeah, unfortunately, for CrazyOp, only the one Dark Templar dove in, and so the SCVs were able to repair and save the bunker while a turret finished. So it looks like HowPond should be able to stabilize this Dark Templar, get in here, getting a few more swipes in before this more forward turret finished. Tank able to be picked off there by Dark Templar because it sieged a bit too far forward, but HowPond is starting to be aggressive now. CrazyOp trying to take the third base for them. Can't quite get probes there safely, though, thanks to this vulture. The Dragoon coming back to try and secure this line here. There's also a couple of Dark Templar here that would be able to cause problems. But now mines are being laid to try and deal with these Dark Templar while the tanks are advancing forward on this position here. But HowPond needs to be careful because scans are somewhat limited. There's a Dark Templar denying this third for HowPond. Meanwhile, the carriers are starting to come out for CrazyOp, but as we saw in the last game, Goliath, I almost called him Guardian, Goliath production is started up here for HowPond, and so there will be plenty of Goliaths. Actually, wondering, okay, they're able to squeak through that little spot there. I didn't think the mech units would fit in there, but they do, apparently. And now the tanks are laying siege to the third base here. The vultures are making sure that things are trapped in that natural and main and not able to come out over here. And also the probes from the third being slaughtered here, forced into a corner. Oof. And now the probes from the natural that wanted to come out into the third are like, yeah, we'll come out. Oh, wait, maybe not. HowPond now, that all of the workers from the third are gone, trying to move up to the natural here. And, yeah, there's just enough Goliaths now. I don't think... See, they are almost 1-1 Goliaths, and the carriers will have +1 air attack, but yeah, HowPond now marching into the natural here. The three carriers are trying to do what they can along with the Dark Templar, and like I said, scans are a bit limited. There are no vessels out, but nice use of the mines by HowPond there to go ahead and take out the Dark Templar. Right now there's only 3 Goliath to deal... Well, 2 Goliath now, actually. Now no Goliaths, so the carriers are pushing back a little bit along with the Dark Templar. The Dark Templar are pretty gas heavy. CrazyOp not really mining from the natural gas or the 3rd gas. Only on that 1 gas, so yeah, as you can see, down very gas starved. So over 1,000 minerals, but like barely any gas available to CrazyOp. And HowPond is kind of gas starved as well, because this 3rd got denied with the geyser. It actually went for the mineral only over here, and it's just now getting its 3rd gas. So that might be hurting the Goliath count a bit, which is allowing these carriers some room to play and sort of push this HowPond army back a little bit. But I think in the end, this is looking like HowPond's still in the better position. So the mining at the natural, while it's going on right now, has been interrupted multiple times. The mining at the 3rd here has completely stopped. And this is very much a game of gas, right? Both need gas-heavy units. But this is 4 carriers here. 5 now. If this carrier count can get large enough, and HowPond can't get enough Goliaths out at one time, there are a lot of Goliaths in production. There's a good number of factories here. I like the macro that HowPond is pumping out. But CrazyOp, if they can get mining at this, like, they've got minerals, right? They can produce interceptors for a long time here. If they all 3, well, the main is close to mining out, so CrazyOp really needs to get this 3rd going, or it will, you know, in a game of attrition, CrazyOp would lose if they're not able to get that 3rd mining. But they do have it. Oh, it's getting interrupted. But CrazyOp is slowly pushing HowPond's army back here, and that carrier count is growing. CrazyOp does need to be careful, though, as the Goliaths start to target and get some of those carriers down low. But yeah, as we can see, like, this is part of the challenge, is keeping that interceptor count good too, right? And that's where, you know, getting this 3rd mining uninterrupted is very important for CrazyOp, so that way it can keep that mineral production up. And I mean, look how low the minerals are already. It was over 1,000 a little bit ago, and now it's already down to like nothing, right? And we can see there's just constant interceptor production because these Goliaths just keep picking the interceptors off. While HowPond, with the 3rd gas now, is able to just keep a steady stream of like 6 Goliaths being pumped at a time. Here, an occasional Zealot being produced, and it would be nice if CrazyOp could get a little bit more of a ground army, since, you know, Vulture production has pretty much all but stopped at this point. But at the same time, CrazyOp needs to get another mining base here. If HowPond can keep CrazyOp to, you know, even though there's 13 carriers in play, if CrazyOp's not able to get another base, this game is just going to, through attrition, go for HowPond, right? Because eventually you're going to run out of minerals, you're not going to be able to keep producing interceptors. And we can see here now, HowPond has actually battled back across this bridge here. Interrupted the mining at the 3rd, so CrazyOp just 1 mining base. Oh no, the Sim City, there's 4 trapped Dragoons. That's very, very unfortunate for CrazyOp. I don't think 4 Dragoons would necessarily change the tide, but, you know, that's 8 supply, like 500 minerals, I think, because I think they're 125 each, and what, like 50 gas, I think, so 200 gas that was just wasted, essentially. And in a game where every mineral and every gas is going to be important, that's just really unfortunate. Now, there were a few carriers trying to wander down here to maybe threaten this base. And I like how this base, too, is just gas mining. Like, HowPond's like, I have the minerals that I need. These little SCVs twitching is kind of funny, too. Now, the carriers are making some ground on the southern front, but this 3rd, the mining being interrupted again. There's only a couple of carriers up here trying to push the force back there. We've got another fleet of 4 carriers over here, and then this is where the bulk of the carrier army is, and actually this base gets destroyed here. So HowPond back down to just 3 gas, and I think this main gas is depleted, yeah. So really 2 undepleted gases for HowPond. And gas is really where it's struggling, whereas minerals is really where CrazyOp is struggling. And now CrazyOp trying to take this base road, actually getting onto the natural. The third looks to be relatively safe here for CrazyOp. CrazyOp might get a win here and tie up the series, but now the Goliath's coming out of the natural, pushing these carriers back. Making another attempt at the third of CrazyOp. CrazyOp trying to take another base here too. There is a mine in the way, but just doing the off-center nexus, saying screw it. But now the carriers have found this bottom right base. That's gonna knock out. That's gonna knock HowPond down to 1 gas. That's not depleted. Take out like 3 factories worth of production. CrazyOp, I think, has done what it needed to do to be able to win this game. It was able to push the army back enough to secure another base, especially since it's only on 1 mining base right now. You know, it really just needed to get some space to get a base. Now Vulture has found this. There's no other defenses here, so everything is forced to scatter. CrazyOp does need to be careful because they are kind of like in a very precarious position. If their mining bases get destroyed and or disrupted, like they don't have a bank to fall back on, so they could just very quickly dry up, right? But HowPond isn't... Wait, is this... Okay, only has 2 depleted geysers to work from right now. So HowPond's in a bit of a sticky situation too. Like, yes, they've got a mineral bank, but their gas income is almost non-existent, and every Goliath is 50 gas. So there was a good attempt at counter-pushing here from HowPond, but I think CrazyOp takes this in the end, and is going to tie this series up 1-1. Very hard-fought game between these two. Yeah, there just really isn't anywhere that, like, because it's a 3-player map, it's not a 4-player map, there just aren't a lot of bases that HowPond could try to take. I mean, they've got the minerals to build command centers, but yeah, I think at this point they're just done for. They don't have the gas income anymore. Nicely done with the Golden Armada, the 19 carriers here by CrazyOp. Just overpowering the Terran, just keeping them back enough to keep that mining up, to get the carrier count up, get the expansions it needed, and just be able to fight back and take the game. I really don't know how Game 3 is going to go. Like, after seeing HowPond's performance in Game 1, I kind of expected Game 2 to go for HowPond, but now that the series is tied, and in a convincingly fashion too, it's not like, oh, you know, I don't feel like CrazyOp necessarily got lucky in this fight, right? To where it's like, oh, well, the chance of CrazyOp winning in Game 3, you know, is so small. And I don't feel like HowPond got lucky in Game 1 either, where it's like, oh, the chance of, you know, HowPond winning in Game 3 is so small. I feel like Game 3 between these two could go either way. Both of these AIs fighting for the right to take on the loser of the winner's bracket semifinal. There are so many carriers. Jeez, 22 carriers. 200 supply with 60 workers. And these carriers are just kind of patrolling. One thing I noticed seems to be missing, there's no observers. So I wonder, does CrazyOp get observers? Like, would a cloaked wraith, or would cloaked wraiths have potentially been a better answer? I don't see a robotics facility. I imagine CrazyOp maybe gets them if it sees a cloaked unit, or a unit that can cloak, and HowPond just never produced any, so HowPond actually worked through its entire bank of minerals too. Somehow, despite the really low gas count. I don't know how it did that, but it did. And Crazy, just cleaning up the final buildings here. Getting that 1-1 tie, just, wow, what a game. Our third and final game, well, I mean, it's not the third game of the cast, but third game of this series, final game of today's cast. It is taking place on Python. We have HowPond spawning as the white Terran down at the bottom of the map. And over on the left side, we have CrazyOp spawning as the red Protoss, so we have pretty short distance between the two. And yeah, we'll see how this one goes. This is interesting spawn positions too, because there's kind of like this area where CrazyO's carriers can kind of go straight for HowPond's main. I'm thinking the map and spawn positions are kind of strong setup for CrazyOp here, and we'll see. The scout for HowPond is going out now and does see the pylon out there, so HowPond going to be able to react. I was thinking if that pylon came just a little bit later, maybe, you know, the cannon rush would end up being a bit more effective, but it looks like we will see the cannon rush fail like we have the other two games. But CrazyOp has proven that they can recover from the failed cannon rush and still put up a good game and even take a game. So, pylon falls, cannons going to be unpowered and fall. Probe was getting a little bit of harassment on the SCVs there. Oh, actually starting another pylon. I don't like this, going a bit more into the cannon rush for some reason here. CrazyOp really needed to start transitioning like it did in the other games. This might be a problem for CrazyOp with it overcommitting here to the cannon rush. Or not. HowPond's actually backed off. And these pylons are going to finish. I'm not sure. This cannon might still be unpowered, though. Bunker being started. I don't know why this probe was having some issues there, but this vulture is out now. This cannon is gonna fall. Yeah, I think this cannon is unpowered. So vulture does get out. A second probe is going to show up. And one marine in a bunker fires so slowly. The cannon targeting the SCV, repairing the bunker. Very nice. The cannon is out of range. Oh no, this is quickly spiraling out of control for HowPond here. What I was thinking was originally a mistake by CrazyOp is actually looking like it's going to go very well for CrazyO here. HowPond's going to be stuck trying to build that bunker there. Oh dear, like... couple more cannons coming down. I mean, tanks are out if siege mode is researched, so HowPond's going to be able to bust out of this, but that cannon contain did a lot more. But because that cannon rush was doing so well, this natural is just being picked apart by this vulture here because there's nothing to defend. Whereas before, when the cannon rush would fail, CrazyO would get a couple defenses at home and be a bit stronger set up there. The worker count for CrazyOp is still climbing, though, because it is only one vulture, and it doesn't seem to quite be getting the same one. It's also having vision issues because of this ramp here. The probes are able to kind of come down and bait the vulture into attacking it, and then they can kind of just hide up on the high ground. Vulture loses sight of them and then backs off, but now pylon is started here at the natural, getting chased off by the probes. Are getting a little bit of damage in. They're able to throw down a cannon now if they need to, which I would recommend they do against these vultures. But there is a tank coming across now. CrazyOp just getting the Citadel. It's the engineering base started, not quite yet. Yeah, the tank wisely not sieging at the moment, as the probes could just rush up on the siege tank. We've got more tanks and vultures coming in. The Templar Archives almost done. Armory coming down. There is an academy, so scans can, you know, come out in time, but the offensive here might be stopped by the Dark Templar, but suffering a lot of worker losses here. This is very major damage here. Turrets now on the way. Oh, yeah, that's right, the sea bay is floating. I forgot about that, bay existing. But no comsats yet, so the Dark Templar should be able to sort of stop this attack here and give CrazyOp some room to breathe. But CrazyOp suffered a lot of damage, down to 4 workers. If the last workers die, there's no minerals to replace them. CrazyOp has to be really careful pulling these probes to the front. Not what they should be doing. They should be huddling around the cannon right now. Where are the Dark Templar chasing the Goliath? They take a mine hit. Very low health right now. 2 workers left for CrazyOp. Wow, this did not in any way go how I was thinking it was going to go. The last Dark Templar fails. There's no workers for CrazyOp. 1 Dragoon left. Wow, HowPond with the win. This game was like a back and forth seesaw that I just did not know which way it was going to go. This had its ups, its downs, its valleys, its peaks, like just what a wild ride from the persistence of the cannon rush with Crazyo, and I'm like, oh, that's not going to pay off, and then it looks like it is paying off, then siege mode comes in, and then just wow. And then this vulture, actually, I like this, like, it looks like, it's like, what is this vulture doing, that it's just sitting here, staring down this nexus? Why didn't it just attacking it? It's just waiting for a probe to pop out. But CrazyOp doesn't have the money to produce any probes, so that vulture's just going to be sitting there watching that nexus like a hawk for a while. And actually, CrazyOp gonna go ahead and give an early GG, or well, not an early GG, but give the GG before all the buildings get eliminated. So just excellent play from HowPond there, advancing for the round to face the loser of the semifinals. And that'll bring us to the conclusion of today's cast. We had a number of exciting series here in the Losers Round 4 and Losers Round 5. We got to watch HowPond battle through to make their way into the Losers Round 6, which will be the final round for the Losers bracket. So our next cast is going to be the semifinals, which is Stardust up against Monster, then the Losers Round 6, and then the finals. So the finals could be 1 or 2 sets, depending on if HowPond is able to win in the first set. So I'm very excited to see and looking forward to these. You know, we've actually got a representative from from each of the races here. We've got Stardust for Protoss, Monster for Zerg, and HowPond for Terran. So it's really cool. We could be seeing any matchup that's not a mirror matchup in the finals. Really looking forward to getting that one casted for everybody here. Again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We really appreciate the viewership and the support. And as always, until next time, take care, everybody.